you can confirm that you can hear me. And I'm going to get the chat pulled up over here. I'm not late. It's 8 o'clock on the dot here. Maybe like 10 seconds. Thanks, John, for making it. Yeah, bring the e-bike to you. I don't know which state you're in, but or at least I don't recall off the top of my head. Right on. Thanks, Raven. All right. Northwest Alabama. I go through there every once in a while. I'd have to look at a map to see exactly where I go through, but I do go to Alabama on occasion and go visit family and whatnot down there. Small world. The weather is super nice outside right now. It has been freaking hot this week. And try as I might to get into the office earlier and be able to get caught up on things, it has not happened. So I'm still running behind, and I think that's going to be like how things are, but that is also what I'm trying to fix. So if you have questions, put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them, and maybe I won't screw it up. And other than that, I'll just kind of touch base on the week. Taking care of a rainwater job right now, so I've been trying to work on it in the mornings while it's cool-ish, and then spend the afternoons in the office. And so far, that has not worked out at all this week. It's been, I think I got into the office maybe on Monday, and here we are Thursday. And I feel like I'm still as far behind as ever. Trying to get caught up on commitments that I've made. Grateful for the work and doing the rainwater deal. That's my thing. Fortunately, it's very close to home. It's on a cabin that I built and sold as a shell. So we'll be doing quite a bit of work there over the future, it looks like. But getting some other irons in the fire as well. So just gonna have to see how it all goes. I got a lot going on and growing and trying to get this to where it is helping more folks with their homesteads and the projects that they've got going on. And that's really, we'll visit on that. It's kind of a course correction, which is the name of tonight's live. But just trying to rein things back in and make sure that I am putting my time and energy where it is best served for everybody, not just me. So, all right, cool. We got comments. So let me, hey, the Militant Homesteader made it. Buddy of mine, new channel. Go over there and like his. He's here in Oklahoma as well. Going to be doing, he's got his own spin on things. He's got a whole nother just area of expertise. So he does a good job with getting into the nitty gritty, and he will be bringing in some of that into his videos. So glad he could make it on here as he's growing his homestead up there. John, your question. So you have septic, water, solar, and are moved in. Septic is like it's overlooked often. It's one of those things that doesn't require a lot of maintenance. But it's funny that you bring that up. I do like seeing backups for everything. So once you have your initial goals met, and one of those for me that you didn't mention here is site security. So I've covered that in another video. But anyways, fence and gates are kind of like, they were utmost priority for me before we moved into this homestead. So for me, shoot, I didn't even take care of the water until I had already moved in. So after that, redundancy. I think if that's your style, if you're trying to be prepared, I like to have more than one source of water. So I've got 3. Solar, I wanted more than one source of power, so I have 3. Septic, I only have 1. I have considered an outhouse or even a traditional septic system with a leach field, because ours has the aerobic system, because our soil where we particularly built our house doesn't leach very well, or doesn't, there's another word for that. But anyways, it doesn't do that thing. It doesn't drain very well. We got a lot of clay. So an outhouse or something like that, I think it's a good idea. I've been pondering this whole doing like just an outdoor bathroom, outdoor toilet, whether that's a composting toilet or not, an outdoor shower, and just a place where if I have somebody over, they don't have to come into my house in order to be able to use the restroom or whatever. But also if we're camping, or sorry, I've got somebody like camping here, or I'm just freaking filthy and don't feel like going in the house. I've contemplated that. Kind of getting off topic here. But anyways, so fencing, site security, John, would be next for me, since that doesn't appear to have already been addressed. Then backups for those said systems. And then after that, you need to get into food production in some form or fashion. But I'm curious to have a conversation on that. So if you've got more to add, feel free. I was in I wasn't in a live. I guess I was. I was in a live today. And that gentleman does his on Zoom, and it made it where other folks get in there and talk. So it's not going to be a next week thing, but that is something I'm looking at in the future, is maybe doing like a Zoom call once a week instead of these lives as this channel grows, and just get it to be that we can have one-on-one conversation. That's what I really enjoy having. And it's easier to converse and make sure that my question or that I am properly answering the questions. And so we'll go from there. There'll be a trick to it, because if you're not careful, you get somebody on there that just talks a bunch, but as I'm doing here. But anyways, thoughts for the future. Y'all can remind me in case I forget that. Yeah, John, a lot of people, yeah, man, I see a lot of people that like moved out during Rona and got onto a homestead and thought that it was like a super easy gravy life, and are returning to the cities. And I see more and more of the homesteads coming up, or at least off-grid, small off-grid properties. I see a lot of those coming online for sale. So kind of interesting. Yeah, Raven, get in there and answer John on the next 8 months. I'd be curious to have that conversation. I know I'm behind on this chat, but just y'all bear with me and I'll catch up. Bizwa Vlogger. I don't really watch movies. I really don't watch TV much in general. If I do, I generally have a reason for it, and I will set aside a pure entertainment show for a special occasion, if you will. If I know I'm going to be home by myself and all my chores are caught up, or the weather's crappy or whatever, or I'm just wore out, I'll turn on a specific show that I've kind of had in mind to watch. But I've really gotten away from spending my time watching things that I'm not learning from. And so I really don't watch much. Even on YouTube, I listen to a lot of it. I will download a bunch of stuff. I'll download Audible books and whatnot. It's just how I prefer to spend my time, is to be very productive and moving forward. I want to learn something. You know, the last TV show or movie even that I watched was that Homestead series that Angel Studios put out. And it was just as much maybe like a dive in the topic. I don't know that I'd call it a study, but I'm always curious, like, what did they drum up in Hollywood to put here that they thought would be cool? And so I like to compare things like that. I thought it was neat. To each their own, right? As far as the acting and things like that, I don't think it was bad. But anyways, we're not getting off on that. I watch it more like, well, they used a lot of electric dirt bikes. I did notice that. You know, and now I've got these e-bikes here, so it's got me pondering how I want to outfit an e-bike and things. So anyways, short there is that I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of movies. Maybe 2 hours a week max. That's, I don't even know that I don't even know that I watch that much. But anyways, okay. Steve, I'm not even going to get into that. Hey, Uncle Alan made it in. Right on. Thanks, man. Michael Stevens, we are from Oklahoma. I don't know if you're asking me that or what. Thoughts on Israel? Ew. I don't know. I'm going to leave this very simply put. I don't even know if I want to go down that rabbit hole on this channel. I don't know that I want to. I don't know that I want to take away from what I've got going here. So I'm gonna skip that one. It's a hot topic, and you know what? That is not my mission statement for the channel. We all have political views, or however you want to word that. But my mission statement for this channel is to help others succeed with their off-grid endeavors and taking their families that way. And so I'm going to refrain as best I can on political or hot topics like that. So yeah, Raven, take your time. Bruce, if I was going to buy a power station today, what brand would I go with? If I couldn't, if I didn't have time to study out anymore and I just had to go with the knowledge that I have right now, I would go with Jackery. I'm comfortable with them. They've done a good job. They've got a good reputation. Their customer service has been on point when I've needed them. If I had to pick up one today, that's what I would go with. However, I will say, it depends on what the power station's for, what your budget looks like, what size of a power station. There's a lot, what kind of PV input that you need going to this. Do you need it to be portable? Does it matter if it's pretty heavy and sets in place? So there's levels to this. But if I just need to tell you, hey, tomorrow pick up one, it would be Jackery. I will say that I have got like 2 or 3 little Chinese ones, and I've been super pleased with them. In fact, one of them is an OG. It's an off-brand, and I've had it, I think, longer than the Jackery and maybe even the Blue Eddy, because it was just on a deal. I picked it up, and I've used it more than the other 2. Now it's a small one, it's only like a 300 watt. I don't know, 700 watt hour or something like that. But what I've noticed is a lot of this stuff is just rebranded. It's got this. I have not tore apart a solar generator. So kind of take this for what you will. But from the outside looking in, a lot of this stuff is coming from the same manufacturer with a different case. I could be off on some things, but I was looking at, I've got a battery, or I've gotten several 12 volt, 100 amp hour lithium batteries here lately. And every once in a while, you'll get one that's like, oh, that's different. Like it's a lot smaller. It's a lot more compact. But a lot of them, same dimensions, same case, same handle. Color of the case might be different, and the labels might be different. So I don't know. If I was going with a solar generator and I had time to kind of piddle, I would not hesitate to try out some of the Chinese ones, try and look for some good reviews. But if you just had to make a decision tomorrow, it'd be Jackery. Hey, O2 Williams. Yeah, that's kind of my thought. A lot of this stuff seems to be made in the same factories. Yeah, I don't know on the Apex 300 who makes that. I can't use my phone right now. Let's see if I can use this. Oh, the Bluetti. See, that looks the same size as the Jackery 3600. And the 3600, you can stack batteries on that, and you've got a handle and wheels. So I'm curious why you think this one, I'm not knocking, I'm just kind of curious what your thoughts are here. I know you've got some, so put them in the comments, because I'd be curious to see what your comparison is. Bluetti, from what I've seen, has gotten to be a lot of a name, and which is great. That's advertising, and really the same for Jackery. But I don't know. Is there that much of a difference that's worth it? I don't know. Tech specs is what I'm trying to look at here. NPPT. It looks very much the same. It does look like it would take 1800 watts on the AC input, and I think Jackery is 1500. But solar input is spot on. They're the same. So really, this looks like it looks just like the Jackery 3600, and so. Yeah, I don't know. I like the lighter batteries every chance I can get. I mean, I don't know. Which I guess if you get a larger battery, maybe you can save a little bit of money on the BMS and kind of the built-in components there. Raven, I don't know if I cut out there or what. I've been having a problem with a mic where I go to edit these videos days later, and then I'm finding out that my mic cut in and out. And so I don't know if I need to order new ones or what. It's a little frustrating. But if you have a problem with my mic, please tell me if it's cutting in and out or something, because I don't know if I just need to order a new set or what. So while I'm waiting on some more comments, I did make some notes that I'm just going to kind of cover this evening. And it's more just about getting the channel back online, which is the whole course correction thing. Nothing dramatic or anything like that. It's pretty gravy, but basically, winning. All right, let's try that again. Sorry, I don't know how the three-legged tripod fell over, but anyways. Okay, So the channel started because I was trying to show people what I was learning, and I'm reading some notes, so just bear with me. But like showing everybody what I was learning, but then also what I was able to accomplish, not in like a boastful manner, but more to show people like, hey, you can do this too. It's not just me. So I feel like I've gotten away from that with all the companies that have reached out, and like I'm super grateful for the sponsors, and a lot of this equipment that you have seen or will see on the channel has come from them. Super grateful. There's an argument to be made that they have certainly progressed the homestead with their components, the e-bikes and generators and batteries, and just a lot of solar panels, portable fridges that now allow me to have my cold food and drinks when I'm on these job sites, generators for backup power. Solar has now, we've got a solar battery that has now gotten us to the point where our solar system can run overnight 9 times out of 10. And in fact, the entire homestead is running off of solar battery storage right now. And so these components have all come together. You will see them over time or in the future. And I am grateful, but that's not the mission statement of the channel. The e-bikes were kind of like, they're a cool toy and they are useful, but I just don't know how applicable they are to the everyday thing that I've got going on. So I'm working through my commitments, because commitments and handshakes mean a lot to me. And so I'm going to honor those commitments, but just know moving forward, it's going to be a little bit less content coming out, but more precise, a lot more studying and things. I've shot from the hip on all of this, and super grateful for the videos that have done really well and have helped folks see what you can and can't do. And I want to get back into those, instead of those one-off videos that have done really well and helped a lot of folks or shown a lot of folks. I want to get back into more of those precise videos instead of this broad, this battery is now running my off-grid communication system, and I got to get into that stuff. But yeah, so I'm not abandoning any of my sponsors. There's some that I'm going to keep and continue to work with. I'm not canceling agreements. But we are going to focus more heavily on rainwater collection, just the water altogether, solar, so power production, and that'll cover everything from the solar panels themselves to generators to fuel storage, which it looks like you all are talking about in the chat. And there'll be a whole, I've got to go over all of that. Food production, which is going to cover things from raising the sheep to the greenhouse, and why I've gotten away from aquaponics, and why I decided to do something different, and why I've gone to raised garden beds and things like that. And I know there's another one in this. It might be security, might be the topic, but that'll cover everything from fencing to gates, to electric gate openers, to driveway alarms, to security systems and cameras and things like that. And so trying to kind of bring this back around to where we have a more focus. There's plenty of content if I just focus on those 4 things right there. So there's a lot to learn and a lot to teach, instead of me getting off in the weeds in things that I don't know that well, to try and show you something neat that a sponsor sent me. So yeah, I was going to show you all something, but it's not really a good way to show you. I'm going to touch on that. Okay. So I buy water tanks used, and I bring them home. I clean them. It's just another way that I make money. And then I use those tanks when I do rainwater systems, or if I'm trying to expand the system here at my house, things like that. So a lot of times these tanks, especially here in Oklahoma, were used for these commercial grow operations. And they held water, they had them as backups, and now a lot of those have either shut down or have gotten shut down. And I can go pick them up for a lot less than going and buying them from a local store and make a little bit of money on them. But anyways, I had one that I cleaned out Tuesday, I think it was, and it had hauled it had held well water. That thing was so full of sand. And it's funny to people that will like comment on my videos and they'll be like, oh, all that sediment and trash in there that came off that roof. No joke, out of a 2,500 gallon tank, I pumped out vacuumed out no less than 25 gallons of sand, which is probably, oh man, there was like there was one bucket that was so full I couldn't even move. I don't know, probably 200 pounds, 250 pounds of sand. And I was thinking, like, man, talk about destroying a water pump. Getting all that's not sediment to me. That is like that's throwing gravel through your water pump, throwing gravel through your water filters and plugging everything up. I would much rather deal with a little bit of pollen off the roof or some pine needles than I would sand. So anyways, I thought that was really interesting. I expected mud in there, but it was pure sand. It looks like playground sand, and it was packed full of it. So yet another reason to go with rainwater. Let me go. Let's catch up on the chat here. Okay. Raven, I'm kind of curious how long the dip in oil and gas lasts and what the long-term effects are from everything being, or apparently being halted the last, how many months now? I'm kind of curious how that's if it's gonna catch up with us and the supply chain for sure. And what I seen a deal that like Cushing, Oklahoma, which is the oil pipelines of the U.S. I think the last I saw by a news network reporting was they were down to like 30%, and that, to the best of my knowledge, was the largest storage tank system. Sorry, big words. In the U.S., or at least maybe above ground tank storage system. And I don't know if they can actually pump those down to 0%. There's a lot of rumor there. So the gas price drops. I ran to town and had a personal matter too. But yes, saving money is important. Food is built out for now. Water's in pretty good shape. Still working on it. Yeah, the kicker with fuel is you can only store it so long, and it is expensive to store. I have some above ground tanks for diesel and gas and propane. And like pre-Rona, I got off-road diesel delivered for like $1.80, whatever, call it $1.80. I called in 2023, maybe it was, to get my tank refilled, and it was going to be like $5.35 a gallon for them to truck out here because the cost of everything going up. They weren't delivering for free and everything else. Yeah, fuel was expensive to store. I went and filled some tanks the other day. That's where that video came from on how I save hundreds on fuel. And it's a freaking killer. And it only lasts so long. So you're constantly having to cycle it out. Aside from the propane, I do fill my 1,000-gallon propane fairly often, more often than I need. Because if I'm running it like full-fledged, everything's great in the world, it'll last us just over 2 years. So, if we got into a conservation effort on it, we certainly could stretch it longer than that. We'd be cooking a little bit more with wood, I imagine. Yes, watching for deals and dips in price. John, when you're building out water, are you looking on like Facebook Marketplace for tanks? I find a lot on there. I haven't tried Craigslist lately, but something to consider. I don't know what your space is like, what you have there, but water storage is a thing. And if not, sometimes it's cheaper to get a pond built. When I was running equipment, we were building ponds for like $7,500 and pretty deep, pretty big, pretty large ponds, a lot bigger than a storage container. You know, a lot more than $7,500 was going to get you if you were going to buy just totes or all these above ground 2,500 gallon tanks. And the NRCS office, I can't recall what the resource, whatever, I don't know, USDA division, whatever they are, they were paying these ranchers almost like, in some cases it was 100%. Most of them came out to like maybe 75 to 90% of our total cost to build the pond. And I don't know if you're in an area for that and you can sign up for a program like that. It's free water storage. You got livestock, something to look at. John, when you say state law is the issue with gasoline and other fuel storage, I don't know how things are there exactly, but there's got to be some exceptions for fuel storage on a farm. And I don't know what size place you have or anything like that, but you get away with a lot when you're agricultural, whether you are or are not. But that might be something to consider. Raven, yeah, the solar panels have gotten super cheap. I feel like I'm very pleased with what I can get solar panels priced at now. I think last time I bought some, which I did buy them local, like secondhand, but they were new panels. I think I gave like 25 cents a watt for them, so they are way down. And that's another thing. I would not hesitate to buy those off a marketplace because I have, and I just don't run into any issues with them. Particular interested in the sheep, working towards getting out of town and raising as much of our own food. Williams, the freaking sheep are like, I don't know why I didn't get on this train years ago. They are fantastic. I don't have anything bad to say about them yet. I'm sure in due time, but they're very easy on a fence. They're easy on the field. I mean, they'll eat it down to nothing. They'll eat the weeds better than any goats I've ever had. And then they'll eat the weeds better than any cows I ever had. And the fact that when you need to butcher one, like it's a deer-sized animal on shorter legs. So there's plenty of meat there for your family, and you just go butcher what you need. But yeah, I have not gotten into butchering the quail yet. Just kind of piddling, and I have them. So kind of just doing the thing there. Yeah, Raven, 100% if you're talking about maybe some fuel storage or something like that. That's definitely the way to go. So if you're good on power systems, John, arrays and panels is like, that's kind of where I'm at right now too. I need to add some panels. Oddly enough, 15,000 watts worth of panels doesn't seem to be quite enough. But so if they're in the direct sun for like 4 hours a day, and I mean, you're going to get some shoulder sun as well, but if they're in the sun for 4 hours and it's a 15,000 watt system, well, I'm bringing in 60,000 watts right then, or 60 kilowatts that I can store. But then when we're trying to refill the battery bank and trying to run the homestead at the same time, it's not quite working out. So I'm looking at doing some panels on a due east conversion and a due west slope or whatever on the side of the solar array to kind of pick up that morning sun and pick up the sun setting at the end of the day, and see if I can just peak out a little bit more with the panels. Just need to kind of max what I have. I am considering messing with a solar tracker too. The problem is finding a good, reliable, semi-storm proof model to be able to test with. So oh, Raven, I forgot about the Prime Day deal, which I have several videos for sponsors I need to do for Prime Day. I don't know whether I'm going to get them all done. I'm trying, but they'll send me things and they're like, hey, Prime Day's in 10 days after you receive this and we need a good video. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's really hard to test an item in 10 days. But anyways. On the bifacials, though, I did just pick up some Renogy Shadow series, and they are, with being in a little bit of shade, those panels did really good. And I may be ordering more of those to put on the side of my main solar array. But any of that technology where they're willing to work or able to work around the like a shade, a partial shade on the panel and still produce is definitely something I would be looking at. Not just the ones that I mean, I guess it depends on where you're at too. Where I am, we have a lot of trees. If you have an open field, then roll with it. Yeah, Raven, just keep working towards the plan, man. And hopefully we can help you get on the road and get into a place that's better suited for you. Yeah, John, if you're referring to on the 90-day lag deal, us feeling the effects from things being shut down, I'm right there with you. I agree. I'm kind of curious to see how that works out. Kind of catch up here, see. February 27th is a long ways off. I hope you're incorrect, but I'm also aware that you might not be. Yeah, Raven, I'm pretty ignorant on this topic. So I'll let you, whatever you're going to put in there, we'll roll with. But I'm fairly ignorant on that. I catch the highlights on being slow, on the reserve fuel being down and things like that, like William's mentioning. But I catch some of the highlights about how we can't actually pump out all of the oil that we have in storage because these caverns or whatever would collapse, and a lot of what we considered as having in storage is really just what it takes to actually fill up the pipes to be able to pump the oil and things like that. So Williams, we're in the manufacturing end, like trying to remember where you're at. You don't have to, but I am kind of curious who you work for, Williams. But no big deal if you don't want to mention it. No problem. I was just curious. You've got I think you've got my number. I have a hard time keeping up with all of the news in general, but especially like the doom and gloom stuff. Like it's hard for me to find the time to listen to it. Just I've got so much going on, and if I have the option between listening to something productive or that, generally I'm leaning more towards the productive if I can. I use that more as my entertainment, just to kind of keep a finger on the pulse of what's going on. I like to just kind of know. And that's about really the only time I listen to any of the news stuff is if I'm really bored and mowing or weed eating or something like that, where I don't want to, I don't know, just kind of want to tune everything else out. Going to go down in future, it's going to have other consequences. So China's not going to be happy. Yeah. Speaking of quality control, I know this is kind of off topic. The quality control on everything has degraded so freaking much. The parts that you buy to repair something, half of them seem like they don't last any time at all. I was just complaining today how we have 3 lawnmowers. All 3 of them are broken right now. One's at the shop, one needs to go to the shop, and the other one I can fix here, but the pulley just went out on, and I just replaced pulleys and belts last week, literally. Not this particular pulley, but I'm like, good golly, man, like I cannot keep this stuff going, and none of it is that. I mean, I guess 2 of them are kind of old, but it's frustrating. It's the quality control on things has significantly degraded. And lawnmowers just seem to be a thing. I've got a neighbor who has 2 lawnmowers, and they are not old. And one of them is one of the electric ones, and they are constantly having problems with the batteries to the point now where I don't even know that they're warrantying the batteries any longer. And the other one's a gas. It's a John Deere, and the sucker is just a chore. It will not, half the time it won't start. And yeah, so my Kubota one is down right now. That's the one that just broke today. And my son's John Deere is down and in the shop, and then this Hustler needs to go to the shop. So anyways, it's my gripe on quality control. John, I am dealing with folks not showing up to install gutters. In fact, to the point now where I am no longer going to sell a catchment system as having seamless gutters because I can't get them. I cannot get people to install. I cannot get them to show up in a timely manner. I get put off. So, and it's not just gutters, but I will talk on gutters because this is what I'm dealing with today. But it is like, man, trying to get somebody to show up and do what they've agreed to is a total chore. And I don't know what the answer is to that. And exporting more than we are storing. Huge. Yeah, Raven, that's what I was concerned with. We're exporting oil that I thought we needed. I thought we were drill baby drill and we were going to keep more. And then the reality of that is we're priced on a worldwide market. And so even if we drill, our price doesn't go down. And then we started selling it. So the stockpile is lower than, I don't know the date, but it is not kind of good. Hey, dude. Hey. Very low. Sorry, the dogs. Okay. Raven, I got your list, and I'll be completely honest, I have not made it through all of them. It's been a wild week. But I appreciate it. I do appreciate the info. Not knocking your time at all. It has been a wild week. going to be me trying to catch up on these videos and the things I've got going there, the commitments. Yeah, I don't know, Williams. I thought we drained it and then we refilled it and then we drained it again. So I don't know. What's up, dude? Oh, okay, Williams. I got you. No worries. I was just curious. John, so you met Bowman. Yep, Mr. Bob. I'm trying to sell a property right now and no viewings. I don't know what's up real estate market. I can tell you my last finished cabin, this is the longest I've ever had a cabin sit on the market. And then there are 2 off-grid builds near me and another grid-tied build near me. And the viewings have all, or showings have all fallen off with all of them. So we're just kind of along for the ride right now. Yeah, it is. It's weird. I don't understand. Part of it is that summertime slows down for real estate. I have gathered that, but no, by no means am I an expert on this. Just kind of limping my way through, and I kind of got spoiled with all of my stuff selling or being under contract within about 2 weeks of being listed. So this is kind of new, waiting for something to happen. But yeah, it is. It's a very interesting time in the market right now. But, you know, you'd think that sometimes I think like things going on in the world, I'd be like, man, who's not looking for a place out in the woods? But on the flip side, apparently a bunch of people are not looking for a place out in the woods. That or money is so tight right now. Yeah, Raven. Bob's pretty good. He's definitely been a help. All right, so let's see, what else do I need to go over on my notes? I'll probably wrap this up at 9. That'll be an hour, and that'll give you all plenty of me for the night. Yeah, Raven, I don't know. Like, I mean, I do understand money and the economy, but I think some people are just comfortable where they're at, even if it is in the city, and to each their own. But yeah, trying to get like-minded individuals into the area is, that's kind of why I build off-grid cabins too. You just kind of have a tendency to lean towards people that are a little closer to seeing things the way I do, a little bit more freedom and things like that. So if I can make that stuff available and have fun doing it and make a living doing it, and others get to reap the benefits, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. I get to stay here and build close to home, and these folks get a good place to have as either a backup plan or a main residence where they don't have to deal with big cities. Yeah, Raven, a lot of these people too, like I've noticed, they overcomplicate things that aren't complicated. Hey, Tuo, calm down, dude. Somebody the other day was griping about rainwater, and they're like, well, that only works where it rains. Yep, you're right. It does. And most places in the US, it rains. I mean, unless you're building in Death Valley, I think even Arizona it's one of the driest states, and I think it's like 17 inches a year on average, something like that. And I know that there are people that do rainwater collection there. So anyways, yeah, anyways. Hey, you're going to have to go someplace else if you can't be quiet. So just kind of going back over some of this, like the mission on this channel is basically just to help people get more prepared, and not in like a doom and gloom, but more maybe self-reliant might be the term better. And just take control of more of the aspects of their life. So whether that is water, food, getting their finances lined out, I just want to encourage that. That's really, really what I'm shooting for on the channel. And, all of that varies, for everybody, how they are prepared and how they decide to take care of their household. Some of them, that means having a big savings account. And for others, it means having a lot of food and a way to procure, or a lot of water storage and ways to procure food and create energy and things like that. So it's kind of what I'm trying to get back into. More of these rainwater projects, more of a breakdown on them, a little bit more educational. The water filtration, just all over the infrastructure on the homestead, education on some of the solar and the components and how things are, and not getting off in the weeds on amps and watts and things like that, but just trying to bring it back home and simplify it so that way people realize that they can do this. We can get more complicated and we can really dive in depth with some of these topics, but it's not always necessary to get started. So, we'll go over the greenhouse projects and just the various off-grid systems, some of the cost breakdowns on some of this, and just more education in general, so that people watch these videos and feel like they're actually walking away with something useful out of them, and that it's conducive. So that's kind of what the channel is all about. That's what we're going for here, and just kind of reining that back in. Yeah, Raven, a lot of people still think that, it's got to be an outhouse outside and, carrying your water in a bucket back from the creek. And, that's how they look at off-grid, and they don't realize. That's why I started building some of the cabins like I did, where we finished them out and it was like, yeah, it's off-grid, but you still have air conditioning, or you still can cook on a normal stove. It doesn't have to be a camp stove and things like that. John, yep. Shadow, thank you. Killer Fades. I like Oklahoma, but Oyster had all types of ticks. John, freaking man, don't go north of here for the ticks. Yeah, thanks. I've been using the same barber for like 12 years. So I appreciate it. He does a good job. That is Sleepy over in Fort Smith. What is the name of the barbershop? Royal Barbershop, I think, is the name of their place. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. Yes, John. However, I don't disagree. But what I will say is the world has supposed to have been falling apart now for at least 14 years that I am aware of. And so far, we do degrade at times, but so far we have stayed moving forward, or at least treading water. So what I have always said is I prepare for two different things: for it all to fall apart and for it all to stay together. And that way I'm not screwed either way. It means I have a little bit of money put back, but I also have a little bit of food put back. And that is kind of just how I carry out my life. And yeah, I mean, a win, but that if or the win could be anything. It could be a tornado just as much as a government collapse or the grid going down for whatever reason, whether that's locally or nationwide, however that all works out. So yeah, the preparedness thing for me is just being prepared all the way around and just try to be level-headed, try not to get into the fear of it all, because it is easy to get sucked into. And yeah, if you prepare for that, prepare for it all to fall apart and it all to stay together. That means I'm preparing for my kids' future, but also preparing for, well, what if the electric grid out there shuts off and now I have to produce all my power? Okay, I'll handle that. So that's how I look at it. Okay. Prepared for World War is better spent. Yeah, I mean, do I really believe nuclear war is just on TV? I don't know. If they're wanting to control folks, it seems like they would try to not have nuclear war. There's arguments about whether that's even a thing, or whether those are real threats, or we just make them up. But it would definitely not be conducive to maintaining control of the population to have nuclear war. So however they go about calming those threats down or whatever, I think that, I don't know, I feel like that could be a deep topic. I don't know that nuclear war is just on TV. At this rate, I'm just looking for community and self-reliance as much as I can. Yeah, Raven, that's the thing. Be around like-minded folks. Stay away from stupid places and stupid people doing stupid things. And you're ahead of 90% of the curve. And yeah, the self-reliance is just like, that's the way to be. Head for the mountains. Dark skies are heading our way. Yeah. It's certainly a possibility. And even if you're not going to live in the mountains, it's not a bad idea to have a place there. Whether that's a backup place or a place that you use as a family retreat and a place to take the kids to go camp, I wouldn't go overboard with it, but it'd be nice to have a spot like that, I think. I've been to Worcester. I like it. Saw a guy living in a camper raising a yard full of roosters. Yep, that summed up much of this area, Williams. You'll see plenty of that. Raven, I don't disagree at all. The degradation over the last 10 years or so has certainly been eye-catching and alarming. And I don't think it's going to improve, and I didn't mean it like that at all. But I just mean it's not going to, I don't think it's going to be this overnight total collapse, as it said, Mad Max scenario where tomorrow we're trading 3 beans for 2 bullets or whatever the exchange rate might be there. Yeah, exactly. So no need to panic. Just apply your time and your energy wisely. Don't waste it doing silly things. If you're interested in this lifestyle, and if you're not, then you're probably on the wrong channel. But if you are, if you're interested in being self-reliant and taking care of yourself, and at least having the option to, then you're probably on the right path. All right, we're probably about to wrap it up, coming up on 9. And if you got any last-minute questions, I'll stick around for a second. And I kind of covered what I wanted to, basically just letting you all know to bear with me as we get the channel back on and going. See you, Williams. Thanks for tuning in, dude. Appreciate it. And Yeah, you're spot on. Just keep on socking away the money and working towards your goal, dude. It's kind of just the way it needs to be for the time being. But at least you've got a goal, and that's half the battle right there. Is it not setting a goal is the first screw up. So you've got a goal, and you're working towards it. All right, guys. I'm going to shut her down for the evening, and we will catch y'all next time. I really appreciate all of you chiming in and hanging out for a few and the questions. And we will catch y'all on the next one. Yeah, dude, the birds and everything's out right now. So it's just going to get louder now with the noises and the dogs chasing things off. All right, we will catch y'all on the next one. Appreciate you very much. Mountain Wizard out. See ya.